my colleagues love the past, Mr. Smith. It's why you're here before Pam Bondi. We haven't had the Attorney General here, love talking about January 6th and Hunter Biden and COVID and Barack Obama and Hillary's emails. They love the past. These people love the past so much, they're still reenacting the Civil War.
What happens when a congressman opens with, "We're definitely not in a court of law. Half this wouldn't come in if we were," then systematically dismantles his colleagues with their own words? Representative Jared Moskowitz doesn't just question Jack Smith. He puts the entire hearing on trial. Armed with sarcasm, receipts, and a question about a wedding planner mastermind, Moskowitz forces a reckoning. Do facts still matter? Or have we entered an era where blame gets reassigned to whoever is politically convenient?
I mean, we're definitely not in a court of law today. Half this shit wouldn't come in if we were. I mean, good God. I want to talk about something one of my colleagues, Mr. Nell, said from Texas. He sits on this new January 6th subcommittee, which I also happen to sit on. And he said the same thing in the subcommittee the other week, that it wasn't President Trump that inspired January 6th, right? It wasn't him. He said in the subcommittee that it was actually Ray Epps. Ray Epps. He was the one who told people to break the law and the windows and the doors and to beat police officers and hang Mike Pence and try to break into the floor of the House and wiping feces on the walls. It was all this guy, Ray Epps, right? So who is Ray Epps? Why is he so powerful? So, I just did a quick, Google search of Ray Epps, and his Wikipedia page says the powerful Ray Epps is a wedding planner to the Oath Keepers. This is the wedding planner? That's the mastermind of January. You went from Donald Trump. It wasn't Donald. Who are we going to blame? Who could it be? How about the wedding planner to the Oath Keepers? It's just pathetic. But, my colleagues love the past, Mr. Smith. Love the past. That's why you're here before Pam Bondi. Okay? We haven't had the Attorney General here. We didn't have her last year. She's the only one in the cabinet to not come in committee of reference, but they love the past. Oh, they, love talking about January 6th and Hunter Biden and COVID and Barack Obama and Hillary's emails. They love the past. These people love the past so much, they're still reenacting the Civil War. Okay? Love the past. But I hate talking about the present. But you know what? Let's talk about the past real quick. Here are some quotes, because I heard one of my colleagues call you a hypocrite. Here are some quotes from my colleagues. Chairman Jordan, right after January 6th, stop the violence, support Capitol Police. Ted Cruz, those storming the Capitol need to stop right now. The Constitution protects but not violence. Chip Roy, today the People's House was attacked, which is an attack on the Republic itself. Steve Scalise, United States Capitol Police saved my life. Lindsey Graham, when it comes to accountability, the president needs to understand his actions were the problem. Troy Nels, oh my God, him again. I'm happy to stand shoulder to shoulder with Capitol Police. Darrell Issa, the violence and turmoil we witnessed in Washington, D.C. was completely unacceptable. Rep. McClintock, the attack on Capitol strikes the most sacred act of our democracy. And former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, whose name we heard a lot today, what did he have to say about it? Let me be clear. Last week's violence attack on the Capitol was undemocratic, un-American, and criminal. And make no mistake, those who were responsible should be brought to justice. The president bears responsibility. Period. Or exclamation point. But let's talk also about, the present. That's the past. Let's talk about the present. These are the guys who created the weaponization committee for the DOJ. So let's talk about the present. Jerome Powell facing investigation. Okay. In fact, we heard about Jonathan Turley, that he's some legal messiah. Jonathan Turley calls the Jerome Powell thing legitimate concerns of retaliation. Lisa Cook under investigation. Mark Kelly, United States Senator, under investigation. Adam Schiff, United States Senator, under investigation. Eric Swalwell, United States Representative, under investigation. Chris Christie, potentially under investigation. Jack Smith, oh, that's you, under investigation. Okay, Miles Taylor, former Chief of Staff to United States Department of Homeland Security, under investigation. Christopher Krebs, former Director of Cybersecurity, under investigation. Indicted. James Comey, Letitia James. John Bolton. It's weird that they indicted John Bolton but stole his foreign policy. Accused of crimes. Former President Joe Biden. Former President Barack Obama. Revoked or threatened with revocation of Secret Service protection. Kamala Harris. Hunter Biden. Ashley Biden, the daughter of President Joe Biden. Mayorkas. Mike Pompeo. Brian Hook. General Mark Milley. John Bolton. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the guy Trump gave a medal to. Security clearance revoked. Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, Jacob Sullivan, Lisa Monaco, Mark Zaid, Norman Eisen, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Andrew Weissman, Hillary Clinton, Liz Cheney, Kamala Harris, Adam Kinzinger, Fiona Hill, Alexander Vindman, Miles Taylor. I could keep going. Any questions about any of that? We know you don't.
But will the gentleman yield for a question?
I will, please.
Because you have a way of synthesizing that nobody else does, Mr. Moskowitz. Listening to our colleagues today, I wonder if they actually believe any of this would have happened had Donald Trump simply accepted the results of the election.
You mean like Al Gore did when he lost 5-4 at the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would any of this, would the violence have happened? Would the fake counterfeit slates have happened? The threats against Vice President Pence?
No, none of it would have happened. And Leanne Panetta would still have a security clearance. So would John Brennan. So would Michael Morrell, Michael Vickers. I can't get them all in, Mr. Chairman. I can't get them. I have like 4 more pages of the weaponization of the Department.
The time
of
of the
Justice.
gentleman from Florida has expired.
Representative Jared Moskowitz's testimony is a masterclass in rhetorical precision disguised as exasperation. What begins as sarcasm, mocking the conspiracy theory that Ray Epps, a wedding planner for the Oath Keepers, somehow orchestrated the January 6th insurrection, quickly becomes a devastating indictment of how political narratives are constructed, weaponized, and memory hold when inconvenient. Moskowitz doesn't just expose the absurdity of blaming a wedding planner for an attack on the Capitol. He exposes a willingness to rewrite history in real time, even when the original version is still on the record. The Ray Epps segment is strategic brilliance. By highlighting that his Republican colleagues now claim Epps, not Donald Trump, inspired January 6th, Moskowitz illustrates the lengths to which revisionism has gone. A wedding planner becomes the scapegoat because acknowledging Trump's role would require accountability. Moskowitz sarcastically walks through the logic. You went from Donald Trump. It wasn't Donald. Who do we blame? How about the wedding planner to the Oath Keepers? The absurdity isn't accidental. It's the point. When facts become inconvenient, blame gets outsourced to the least powerful person available. Then Moskowitz pivots to something far more damning: receipts. He methodically reads his Republican colleagues' own statements from immediately after January 6th. Statements condemning the violence, supporting Capitol Police, and explicitly holding Trump accountable. Chairman Jordan: stop the violence. Support Capitol Police. Ted Cruz: those storming the Capitol need to stop right now. Lindsey Graham: the president needs to understand his actions were the problem. Kevin McCarthy: the president bears responsibility. Period. These aren't liberal talking points. These are the words of the very people now conducting investigations designed to rewrite what happened that day. Moskowitz's point is devastatingly simple. They said it themselves. On the record, under their own names. And now they've moved on to blaming a wedding planner. This isn't just hypocrisy. It's institutional gaslighting. The people who once called January 6th undemocratic, un-American, and criminal now lead subcommittees suggesting it wasn't Trump's fault at all. But Moskowitz doesn't stop at January 6th. He shifts to the present, the actual weaponization of the Department of Justice happening right now. He rattles off a staggering list. Jerome Powell under investigation. Senators Mark Kelly and Adam Schiff under investigation. Representative Eric Swalwell, Chris Christie, Jack Smith, all under investigation. Miles Taylor, Christopher Krebs, James Comey, Letitia James, John Bolton, indicted, accused, or investigated. Former Presidents Biden and Obama facing threats to Secret Service protection. Security clearances revoked for Biden, Blinken, Sullivan, and others. The list continues. Alvin Bragg, Andrew Weissman, Hillary Clinton, Liz Cheney, Kamala Harris, Adam Kinzinger, Fiona Hill, Alexander Vindman. Moskowitz pauses. I have like 4 more pages of the weaponization of the department. This is not abstract. This is a documented campaign of retribution against political opponents, critics, and anyone who stood in Trump's way. The people who created a weaponization committee to investigate alleged DOJ abuses now preside over the most aggressive use of federal investigative power against political enemies in modern history. Then comes the exchange that cuts to the heart of everything. Moskowitz is asked, would any of this have happened if Donald Trump had simply accepted the election results? His answer is immediate. No, none of it would have happened. The violence, the fake elector slates, the threats against Pence, the investigations, the revocations, all stem from one decision: Trump's refusal to accept he lost. Moskowitz's testimony matters because it refuses to accept that the past is debatable when it was documented in real time. His colleagues love the past so much, they're still reenacting the Civil War, he quips. But when pressed on the present, on actual investigations and purges happening now, they fall silent. This is oversight theater weaponized against oversight itself. The hearing is ostensibly about Jack Smith, but Moskowitz flips the script. The real story is the people holding the hearing. They condemned January 6th when it happened. Then they watched Trump retake power and decided their old statements were no longer operative. Moskowitz's final image, waving 4 more pages of names, is a warning. The weaponization isn't hypothetical. It's active, expanding, and targeting anyone perceived as disloyal.